I came on ahead because I was following the whales and they were in closer to the shore.
Three kinds of ice cream. Brown boy, girl, boy. What you got? No, the fourth. Look at the fish. You get to pick them up. Some.
Yeah. And that's what they're finding out.
Years ago, when the paper rolled in at Middlecroft, there was one day there was at least 15 humpbacks out there. And they were just all going crazy chasing after the paper. Okay, so good morning. We're going to start our tour right here. Usually we start at the stairwell tank, but there's 3 other groups of kids running around the building right now, so we're going to go wherever there's room. And this, of course, is Logie Bay. This is the ocean setting for the Oceanside Center. I'm not sure if anybody knows the meaning of the word logie. It's kind of an older English term, L-O-G-Y. It means heavy or sluggish or slow. Now, years and years ago, when there were lots of groundfish, especially Atlantic cod in this bay, people would say the waters were heavy or logie with codfish. So that's where the name of the bay comes from. So this used to be a very active fishing community at some time in the past. There were flakes and wharves all along these rocks right here. If you see some of the old pictures, there might be some inside, as a matter of fact. So people eked out a very common rural Newfoundland kind of existence in this part of the province. The only problem is the codfish stocks around here dried up, I guess, 60 or 65 years ago. So there hasn't really been a fishing settlement here since that time. And I've had a few questions about whales already, but I don't think there's any out there today. The last time I saw a whale was last week, so they've kind of moved offshore in this area anyway. The humpbacks especially are chasing the schools of cane from this time of year. We've got some whale bones around the corner. I'll show those to you right now. You might already know that there are 2 basic kinds of whales. There are whales with baleen in their mouths, things like the humpbacks and the fins and the blues. And the baleen whales tend to eat things like plankton and krill, very small food. And I'll show you how they feed a bit later on. We've got some baleen in a room upstairs. There's also the whales with teeth, like the killer whales and the sperm whales. And they tend to be more active predators. These things like to eat fish and squid for the most part. And a good rule of thumb is that the baleen whales are an awful lot bigger than the toothed whales in general. And this is the skull of one of those baleen whales right here, just the bone from the head. This is called a fin whale. Fins are relatively common around here. They're about 90 feet long when they're fully grown, so they're absolutely massive. Just so you can get your bearings, this is the top of the skull right here. This here's where the eye used to be. That's called the orbit. And right here we've got the upper jawbone. And actually this skull is incomplete. The upper jawbone would come all the way out here a good distance. So this is a very big animal. 90 feet long. It's the 2nd largest whale in the world after the blues. By comparison, excuse me. right here we've got the skull of what's called a pothead or pilot whale. And potheads are relatively common around here. In fact, they're the most common toothed whales that you find in Newfoundland and Labrador. These things tend to eat herring and mackerel, nice small oily fish. And if you've never seen a pothead before, they look a lot like a dolphin or a porpoise. These things, I guess, are about 12 to 16 feet long. They're kind of a black sort of color, and they've got a nice beaked nose, just like a dolphin. And you can see that right here. It comes to a point. Now, not all the whales with teeth are nearly as small as the pothead. This is the lower jawbone, just this bone right here in the mouth, of what's called a sperm whale. You can see the sockets where the teeth used to be. These teeth fell out, we didn't yank them out. These things are very big. They're about 59 or 60 feet long when they're fully grown. You've probably seen pictures of a sperm whale before. They've got a big square head. They're kind of a blackish gray sort of color. And the fictional whale Moby Dick was actually a sperm whale, and a lot of people are familiar with that character. And what's interesting about the sperms is that they're the champion divers among the whales. Your average sperm whale can stay underwater for an hour and a half or 2 hours at a time without having to surface and take a breath. So these guys can hold their breath for almost 2 hours, which is really amazing. So they dive really, really deep. They dive that deep in search of their prey. These things eat squid for the most part, including a very strange group of animals called the giant squid. Now, a lot of people think that giant squid are made up or from children's stories, but they do actually exist, and there's a lot of interest in them around here because you tend to find more giant squids in Newfoundland and Labrador than in other parts of the world. They like the cold waters of the North Atlantic. And I'll show you some pictures of squids that have been landed around here. Some of them are over 30 feet long. And next we'll move on to the seals. Seals don't actually chew their food at all. They just grab it and swallow it whole. So they probably prefer a small fish that goes down in one bite. Based on the research that's been done on the Ocean Sciences Center, it's been deduced that the preferred prey for seal is capon, a nice small oily fish. But they'll eat just about anything. Now, seals are mammals. They're animals just like you and I. Can somebody give me some reasons that we know that seals are mammals? What makes a seal a mammal? They've got fur, right. They're covered with a nice soft coat of fur. It's hard to see that in the water because these guys are so wet the fur is plastered down and they look kind of shiny and hairless. But all of these seals have got a nice soft coat of fur. We've got a seal pelt inside. I'll show that to you later on. So that's one good reason. There's at least 3 or 4 others. Fresh water from snow and ice. And we have an ice maker in one of these buildings, so we just make little snowballs and toss them into the tank. And the seals just gobble that down. That's how they get their fresh water. Now the harbor seals like Oscar live further to the south where there isn't necessarily snow the whole year round, so they've adapted to the point that they can actually drink seawater. Same thing with whales, they can also drink seawater. But the harp seals can't, they need snow.